I'm at 306 Park Drive in Dayton, Ohio, doing a sanitary lateral inspection for the purchase of a home. So we're looking for any structural issues, root intrusion, anything that may be of concern to the buyer. Our access point here is a hanging sewer, PVC on the end here, and then goes into clay. Actually, this looks like it's cast iron and then it's clay on the other side of the wall is what it is. So it's cast iron for a couple pieces and then it's actually clay on the other side of the wall. And so this is our access point. There is a little bit of a back pitch, meaning you have to watch it when you open this because there's a little bit of water and stuff sitting here that did come out. Not much, but it's where they connected this with a Fernco to the cast iron. Looks like everything comes down this one stack here and ties in. So with cast iron, there's just a little bit of toilet paper in there. No big deal. A little bit more toilet paper. And this is all visible from the other side. This is all hanging. So it almost looks like cast iron on the inside, but from a quick glance I had, I swore it was clay hanging on the other side of this wall. But, I mean, it looks good structurally. Just got a big layer of stuff on the outside of the pipe here. Looks like we are going into some PVC and possibly a clean out here. And then we're dropping just a hair. If you look in the bottom left hand corner, you can also see the angle of the camera. Most of the time it's going to be pretty flat for most of this, but then when you get it's just good, you can see major drops and stuff like that. Sometimes you can't always tell what's going on by just the camera. Here's the other connection. We're going back to, this looks like cast iron all the way out, but with the exception of that spot of PVC, see, this is definitely clay on the bottom. But I think it's just a matter of all the junk that for some reason is built up. It's got plenty of pitch on it. I don't see anything structurally that would give me question. Now, it could be getting into the main, and that's why I can't see anything. This could have come in at the flow level of the main. Because I'm up against something. Or I just poked through a blockage. And so I'm going to try to push around here. I think I pushed through a blockage there, at least a partial blockage. Yep, looks like we got some roots, and I've actually broke through it, which is good. at like 85 feet. So we'll keep going, and then we are at the main right here. So the main is at 90 feet, and there is some roots there at about 85, and I'm pretty sure that now cleaning the roots out is most likely the homeowner's responsibility. If there's any structural issues, I believe that would be the sewer department's responsibility. And so right now you can see that it's draining whatever I hit, and this is probably backed up, and maybe that's why there's so much gunk on the inside of it. It's probably backed up due to this, due to the root intrusion. So that's why the inside of the pipe looked like that, because I mean I can literally see that it is cast iron, but it's clay on the other side of the wall here. No, I may be wrong. It may just be painted. It actually looked like it's painted like clay, and so from a distance, until I got up on it, it may actually be cast iron. It looked like cast iron from the inside. And so it's just painted like clay. So I was wrong. This is clay here, and that's the reason for this root intrusion here at 85 feet. And so I am going to go mark this spot. I was able to punch through it, but I think that this obviously needs to be cleaned. It is it's covering most of the pipe there, and it took a pretty good amount of my pushing and trying to break through there to pop a hole in it, and it did allow some of the water to drain out of it. And so I want to at least locate exactly where this spot is. So we're gonna pause the video, and I'm going to go out and mark exactly where this is. Okay, so this is about 6 feet in. The main is right in the center of the street. It looks like there's a big tree just into the side of the street where the park is, and that's where all this is coming from. So we're going to pull back. It is marked. Obviously it's only 5 feet from the main, but this will need to be cleaned and then possibly treated with some roots and stuff in the future, or with some root killer. You can see the buildup of stuff, and so it may need to be, you may want to re-inspect it. All this water that's here will drain once they get rid of the roots. But there at 85 feet, you can see all the buildup due to that root intrusion. And there is only one spot, it looks like. And so all that root intrusion is in one spot. Okay, we are, looks like to 73 feet or so. This all looks like cast iron. Cast iron is a difficult material only because you can never tell how much life is left in it. Great. Now I've got junk all over the camera here. We need to try to find some water again. Push back out, see if I can get some of that water again. But again, cast iron is a hard material to gauge life expectancy on. A lot of times the problem is that it does rust. Obviously, with it being cast iron, it does rust. Some cases from the outside and the inside, essentially. This doesn't look like it's in bad shape, but you know, it's kind of hard to see through rust to know how thick or thin the pipe wall is, unless you can see obvious holes. This looks pretty open. There's not a whole lot of buildup as far as the you know, the rust and stuff. And you can have these descaled, but some plumbers like it. It's kind of a 50-50 shot on whether they think that it'll cause more problems than, you know, than it'll help. So we have, looks like there's already been one repair here from about 68 feet. It goes back, and then I think there's an outside clean out. And so again, I'm going to pause the video when I get to that point, because this all looks very good. I've seen essentially the entire line is functioning properly. About 68 feet. Jog. There we go. Let me see here. Okay, so about 53 to 68. There is cast iron, or I mean PVC, excuse me. And so, but this is, I'm sitting below a clean out, and so I do want to go ahead and locate that spot to see if I can find it, see if it's visible or not out there. If not, I'll at least mark it with a flag and or paint to be able to get access if it's somewhere that is accessible. So we're going to pause the video again, and I'm going to locate where where the clean out is. All right, it is obvious now. Couldn't really see it. It's actually got a brass cap on a PVC clean out, and so it's pretty dark. The grass was growing over it. I kind of spread it out a little bit and put a little flag next to it just so you know where it is if you ever need to look for it. But it looks like a two-way clean out too, so it would prevent anyone from having to come down here if it ever needs to be cleaned out, and obviously it does, so that'll be something that'd be good for the whoever comes out to clean the line. It'll be a lot easier access point than coming down here into the basement and carrying the equipment down. So the line looks good structurally. Like I said, it's kind of hard to gauge cast iron with all the rust buildup, but it looks like it is functioning properly. Other than the obvious root intrusion there that is most likely causing a backup. If it hasn't yet, it would have very, very soon. Still amazed that, I mean, this looked like cast iron the whole time, but I'm still amazed that I saw that hanging and thought it was clay. I mean, it is painted like clay, but it's obvious from the inside that it's all cast iron. So I don't see any problems with it. The big issue with cast iron, I mean, obviously, other than the rusting thing, I mean, there's not some major channel in the bottom of this or anything that indicates that it's worn away. But the another major issue with cast iron is using wet wipes. I always recommend that no one use wet wipes, even in brand new sewers. But with cast iron, they're even a bigger problem, because the obvious roughness of the pipe can very easily, you know, catch the wet wipes. And if you ever wanted to experiment on why it would cause a problem, you can just run some water over the wet wipe and then run it over some toilet paper, and you'll see the toilet paper disintegrate like it's supposed to. Over time in the water, it'll break down into nothing and just continue on down, even if it gets caught. The wet wipes will not, and therefore can easily cause backups in cast iron. And so if you're going to use them, just throw them in the trash can. So we are back here at the end. And we're out of the line. And so overall, the line looked really good. Especially, I mean, cast iron's always ugly, like we mentioned, but the line looked like it's in good structural condition, all the way out to 85 feet, going through, I believe it was like 53 feet out to like 68 feet. There has been a PVC repair, and then when it gets off the property, it seems, gets onto the municipality's property, it switches over to clay. And then at that 85-foot mark, there's a really hefty spot of root intrusion that needs to be cleaned. That may need to be, you could get it re-inspected afterwards. A lot of places that clean may also have a camera to inspect their work after they're done, but there's plenty of access here to be able to get a 6-inch double knife through this. Should be able to get this cleared pretty easily, especially from the outside clean out, get all the roots out, and then after that you will have to go back and check for root intrusion. You can use chemical treatments, sometimes those help, but having the cast iron, you might want to look into making sure that it won't do any damage to the cast iron when used. But the main thing is getting it cleaned out, and then after a few years you may want to do another inspection to see how fast the roots are growing, and that would better gauge a maintenance schedule to see about those roots. I don't think that the municipality will do anything about the root intrusion as far as making a repair, but it may be something that you could contact them about and see, due to the root intrusion, if there is any structural issues out there at that point, that you could send that off to the sewer department and see what they will take care of. But again, the line looked good structurally. The only issue was at 85 feet, a large amount of root intrusion that needs to be cleaned immediately before taking occupancy. But other than that, the line was good. So that'll end the inspection at 306 Park Drive in Dayton, Ohio.